Adam Frost, Speculation and Profiteering. Niccolo Ludovice, Domesticated Geographies. Ru Hua, Peasants versus Empires. Sam Bass, The Bound Steppe. Shoufu Yin, The Chinese Rhetorical Curriculum and a Transcultural History of Political Thought.
Hello everyone, I'm Anna Romanovic and I'm the chair of the 13th edition of the Dissertation Committee for the International Convention of Asia Scholars International Book Prize. Today, I am thrilled to announce, after many months of internal deliberations and discussions, the winner of the ICAS IBP 13 in the Dissertations category of the Humanities. But before I do that, let me say a few words about the award itself and thank the people who have contributed with their work and ideas to make the ICAS Book Prize possible. Since its inception in 2005, the ICAS Dissertation Prize has become one of the most important and competitive awards in the field of Asian studies. It is a significant recognition for young scholars who receive a warrant that their dissertation is not just good, but exceptional. Through the high quality of their dissertations, these scholars demonstrate valuable contributions made to Asian studies and the general scholarship. In the 13th edition of the ICAS Book Prize, we received a total of 124 dissertations for evaluation, with the majority, 68, submitted to the Humanities category. We couldn't help but notice a slight decrease in numbers in comparison to the previous editions, a slight decrease which might have been unavoidable due to the pandemic's impact on theses defended between November 2020 and November 2022. Nevertheless, we can affirm that despite the challenges, the quality of the submitted dissertations remains impressive. In fact, this year we have decided to announce a new accolade. It is not an exaggeration to say that excellence is the main criterion for choosing the winner. When I joined the reading committee a few years ago as a member, I quickly learned from Alex McKay, the former chair of the dissertation committee, that we aim to award a dissertation that is not merely very good, but truly outstanding. We seek dissertations that are captivating, well-structured, groundbreaking, enlightening, and based on meticulous and cutting-edge research. These criteria continue to guide our selection process today. Being selected for the ICAS Prize is no small feat. Therefore, I would also like to use this opportunity to congratulate all the long-listed and short-listed authors, as well as the accolades recipients. It is indeed an achievement to be recognized in this competition. Finally, before I announce the winner of this edition of ICAS in the Humanities, I would like to thank the reading committee members for their hard work. Jayati Bhattacharya and Kathleen Gutierrez, the judges mainly responsible for assessing the dissertations in the Humanities, were assisted by Alisa Paredes and Doyoung To, our social sciences judges. Without their hours of dedication, openness to new ideas, and sharp critical minds, the ICAS Prize would not be possible. Thanks again. I would also like to express my gratitude to everyone in the IIAS ICAS office, especially Wai Cheng, our acting secretary. They were always available to answer questions and address doubts. Finally, I am delighted to announce that today's winner, the recipient of the 13th edition of the ICAS IBP Dissertations in the Humanities category, is Adam Frost for his work titled Speculation and Profiteering: The Entrepreneurial Transformation of Socialist China. Adam's thesis, defended at Howard University in 2021, focuses on the interplay between entrepreneurial initiatives and socio-ideological transformations in socialist China between 1958 and 1978. Using an innovative methodological approach, Adam's work is clearly written, well-considered, and an enjoyable read. Warm congratulations on this remarkable achievement, Adam. Thank you, and now the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to have been awarded this prize. I just want to thank my advisor, William Kirby, who afforded me the freedom and the space to pursue an unconventional topic through unconventional means. Also, the members of my dissertation committee, Tarun Khanna, Arnab Ghosh, and Sven Beckert, who provided their guidance and support throughout. My colleagues at Copenhagen Business School, who have continued to help me workshop these ideas and start transforming the dissertation into a book. And finally, my partner, Shuang Frost, who is a silent co-author in everything that I do.
Hello, Adam. Nice to have you here today. Thank you for joining me, and most importantly, congratulations on your award. It's a huge achievement. Can we start? Can you tell me a few words about how do you think, what is the biggest contribution that your dissertation gives into the scholarship?
Yeah, so the dissertation attempts to reconceptualize economic transformation in Maoist China. A lot of scholarship on economic development in China tends to adopt a kind of top-down view of how the economy changed over time. It looks at formal institutions and institutional change. It looks at political campaigns, mass policies, and things like that. And of course, all of these things matter a lot. They really change how people behaved in the economy and how business worked. But equally, there were bottom-up forces of transformation as well. And so the dissertation attempts to rethink this period of history, looking at economic transformation from the view of ordinary citizens, from business people, from the perspective of local officials and the like, to show that the transformation of the Chinese economy was being driven as much by bottom-up forces as by top-down ones.
Yeah, indeed, and it also changes the way in which we look at transformations, socioeconomic transformations in general. This is something I definitely like. But another obvious question that comes to my mind is like, what initially sparked your interest in the topic? How did you start?
Yeah, so I was interviewing a lot of former government officials and former entrepreneurs in China, and the stories that they were telling me about underground business and smuggling networks and even like illicit procurement for government agencies and things. These stories were telling, they described how dynamic and complex the economy was in the 1960s and 70s China. And this didn't really match up with the standard accounts that I had received in many of the books that I read on that period. So I became very interested in that. I started to try exploring that through formal archival analysis. I visited archives in Beijing and Shanghai, Yiwu, Hangzhou, all over. And I found some good stuff. But I, was still a little bit frustrated too, because I saw that there were archives that I couldn't get access to, or the stories kind of stopped in many cases. I couldn't go deep as I wanted to, and the big breakthrough came when actually one day after visiting the archives, and I ended up getting denied access to this collection. I kind of frustrated. I just went for a walk and I visited this local flea market. And there at the flea market, amongst stacks of Maoist memorabilia and these old and mostly fake antiques and things like that, I came across this big stack of brown jacketed dossiers from the 1960s and 70s. And these were case files of individuals who had been prosecuted for economic crimes, for basically engaging in illicit entrepreneurship during the Cultural Revolution. And so that was the real starting point of the whole project. I thought, I can use these documents that were deemed valueless by the state. These are the things they didn't care about, that they decommissioned, that they threw away. And I can collect them, build my own archive, and then use it to study how economic change happened from the bottom up.
Right. So it shows that you should get frustrated more often, right? And go for a walk to calm down a bit, because it gives a great results. But also comes to my mind is when you talk about the sources, that the methodology you use, the 3-layered methodology, is also very interesting. So maybe at the end you could just say a few words about that.
Yeah, so I began in the same place many historians begin, by doing micro-historical analysis. I had these really rich case files that told the stories of these entrepreneurial actors who were prosecuted for engaging in various types of economic crimes, be that, they started underground factories or underground smuggling rings. I have one case of a Maoist fashion designer who was running an underground ring of illicit fashion. And things like so they're really rich, beautiful cases, and I use those to show anecdotally, but how the economy was working from the perspective at least of these singular individuals and events in time. The problem is, of course, we can't generalize much from that. We only know that this happened one time in this one place, and it's harder to say whether this was indicative of broader trends in the economy. So then I try to zoom out more, and I do that at two different levels. I do it at this kind of meso level by looking at the internal government reports of local state agencies who were prosecuting illicit entrepreneurial activity. And we can see in these internal government reports of low-level agencies reporting up to their superiors, and then superiors sending down commands and things, how the kind of frustrations and the kind of limits of state power in the state agencies' efforts to control economic processes within the economy. And you get a very kind of macro view of hundreds and hundreds of cases all at once in single cities, and this view of how the economy was being transformed by illicit entrepreneurship. And then finally, I zoom out as far as I can go, and I look at thousands of cases at once. I take a lot of cases and then analyze them using statistical and computational methods in a kind of thin way, but in a way that allows us to bring thousands of cases into view simultaneously, and then try to see what patterns emerge over time. And I'm basically able to show that this illicit entrepreneurial activity persists throughout the entire period of Maoist China, that it was starting to grow in scale and scope, that local officials were getting more and more involved with it, and state-run enterprises as well were also becoming enmeshed in these illicit entrepreneurial networks. So by using all three levels together, each of which has its own blind spots, each of which sheds light on a different kind of area, we're able to get a kind of more holistic view of how bottom-up forces were transforming the economy over this period of time that's looked at in the dissertation.
Right. So at the end, it gives you a really complex picture. Thank you very much for this short interview. It's been very informative, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in person at the conference next year. And I hope that we can continue this conversation. Thanks a lot. Have a good day and enjoy and celebrate.
Thank you so much. I look forward to the conference.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.